Armed with the insights garnered from the four cornerstones of job creation framework, a robust foundation is laid for the identification of a four cornerstone value chain. Subsequently, the application of eagle thinking becomes instrumental in devising a strategy for the rapid, inclusive, and sustained job creation at scale. Eagle thinking, a focused and strategic approach, unfolds through three major stages. The first is to identify the weakest link. Within your four cornerstone value chain, pinpoint the sector with the lowest productivity measured by value created per unit of the primary factor of production. For instance, within the Nigerian food value chain, a notable vulnerability surfaces in the domain of crop production, with very low volume of produce per hectare of land. Second, identify the core driver of weakness. Typically, the weakest link within a value chain often exhibits a core driver of weakness or low productivity. An exemplification of this concept is evident in the weakest link of the Nigerian food value chain, the crop production sector. The weakness in the crop production sector is primarily attributed to insufficient investment in productivity enhancement, particularly in the adoption of improved seeds and fertilizers. The principal driver of insufficient investment in productivity enhancement stems from limited access to loans crucial for investing in these productivity-boosting inputs. This inadequacy results in a diminished supply of crops, subsequently leading to elevated farm gate prices for crops. A notable illustration is found in entities like Babban Gona. With a decade and a half of expertise, it becomes apparent that the provision of targeted loans coupled with access to quality inputs and training can be transformative. In this context, such interventions have consistently demonstrated the ability to double yields and net income relative to the average farmer. Addressing the fundamental weakness within the crop production sector initiates a transformative ripple effect, catalyzing heightened economic and job growth across the entire food value chain in Nigeria. Third, implement the top three solutions. In the final step of the process, it is imperative to identify and implement a maximum of the three most impactful solutions to address the primary driver of low productivity within the weakest link. A tangible example can be drawn from the crop production sector in Nigeria, where the underlying constraint revolves around farmers' limited access to loans. The first constraint is rooted in the fact that farmers receive a disproportionately low share of the current debt in the financial system. Despite agriculture contributing nearly 30% to Nigeria's economy, the sector receives less than 3% of commercial lending. To overcome this challenge, a targeted approach involves the development of community agricultural finance institutions, known as community AFIs, exemplified by organizations like Babban Gona. These institutions have proven highly effective, efficient, and scalable at deploying credit to smallholder farmers. This approach mirrors the success of microfinance institutions in urban and peri-urban areas, which over a decade from 1997 to 2007 expanded their services to over 100 million of the poorest customers globally. The second constraint involves the limited overall access to credit within the Nigerian banking sector. Nigeria's commercial bank assets relative to the size of its economy are only approximately 15%. This is in the lowest 10% of countries globally. This low value of lending relative to GDP is equivalent to countries like the Democratic Republic of Congo. To tackle this challenge, a viable solution is leveraging targeted guarantees to catalyze financing from the debt capital markets, particularly pension funds. In Nigeria alone, this presents a $30 billion opportunity to significantly increase funding for the agriculture sector. Moreover, channeling funds from the pension industry into the informal economy, particularly for financing smallholder farmers, can stimulate a virtuous cycle. Increased income within the informal sector creates a positive feedback loop, fostering greater savings through micro-pensions. This in turn amplifies the size of the pension industry, leading to a substantial increase in the quantum of capital returning as debt to further propel growth in the crop sector. This dynamic is vividly illustrated by the remarkable growth of the pension industry in Brazil, which currently surpasses the Nigerian pension industry by a factor of 10-fold, despite both countries being approximately the same size. Successful execution of Eagle thinking, coupled with the four cornerstone of job creation framework, initiates a cascade of economic growth across the entirety of the four cornerstone value chain, thereby facilitating the rapid, inclusive, and sustained creation of jobs at scale.